So I know you guys have already heard by now, Fredo Santana. I was waiting to make this video to see what some of the other channels were going to say about this, especially DJ Academics, because Fredo, like he said in his video, was one of the guys who actually was responsible for DJ Academics' rise to fame. You know what I'm saying? That whole character in the war in Chirac, it was one of the things that launched his career. And Fredo Santana was one of the most iconic characters in Chicago, one of the biggest rappers. He was kind of already big by the time I started my channel, but the image that he put forth was kind of like emblematic, almost like the personification of the streets. You know what I'm saying? Everything that has to do with the streets of Chicago, like Fredo Santana was kind of like one of the big faces of that. So RIP to Fredo. I know you guys already know how he died by now. Probably lean use, okay? Seizures can be induced by lean. You guys know that. Lean, a lot of people look at lean like a drink, you know, like wine or something like that. Lean is closer to heroin. Okay, so one of the things that always baffles me, people always like flex with lean, like on the gram, on Facebook, they show themselves with pints of lean, they show themselves drinking lean. That's really the same thing as flexing on the gram with pictures of yourself shooting up heroin. And people would never do that, but yet they post pics of themselves doing lean. It's basically the same thing. It's like liquid heroin, and then people show themselves becoming fiends, becoming addicts to this stuff, and they do this like they're proud of it, like this is something to be, you know, to brag about. They see lean as something like less harmful than, you know, other street drugs, and it's just as bad, man. If you abuse it, or if you only do it in moderation. People think that you can do this stuff in moderation. They say, well, I do lean, but only a little bit. That's like saying I do crack, but only a little bit. You know what I'm saying? There's no good amount of these drugs. And people say, well, it's a medicine. Yes, guys, it's a medicine. That's totally irrelevant. A medicine can still kill you. You know what I'm saying? Medicine, the fact that something is classified as a medicine means zero. That means nothing. That means nothing as far as the harmful effects that something can have on your body. That's like saying, but it has a pretty color. It means nothing, guys. That it's a medicine. I remember several months ago, you know, Fredo had a little online social media beef with Russ. You know, I mean, I wouldn't call it a beef. Russ didn't really respond, but Russ, the rapper Russ, was saying, in general, not specifically towards Fredo, that, you know, if you do drugs, you're a loser, blah, blah, blah. And Fredo was saying, you know, I need this stuff to cope with the stuff that I've seen in Chicago. And then later, you know, probably I think a couple weeks later, he had a scare where he almost died. Okay, liver and kidney failure. He was in the hospital. And then he was saying he was going to give up the lean. When, you know, just previously 2 weeks ago, he was saying, no, I'm going to keep doing this lean for my psychological trauma. You know, yeah, you can take this stuff to cope with pain, but it's not going to make the pain better. It's going to make it worse. It's possibly going to kill you. This is true for a wide variety of substances that are abused. But here's the thing, man. The human spirit, I'm not talking about Fredo now, okay? I'm talking about people in general. Anybody who's ever tried to admonish somebody that they love, okay, a child, a brother, a sister, anybody who they see, who they love is abusing any substance whatsoever, and you try to tell them that something that they're doing is bad for them. Actually, this isn't even just about drugs. You could be telling somebody that a relationship they're in is harmful for them. You know what I'm saying? You could tell somebody that some habit that they have is harming them in some way, that they're too fat, that they're smoking too much. I mean, you could tell somebody anything out of concern for them, try to, you know, bring them face to face with the reality that something that they're doing is bad for them, and they will get mad at you. They will hate on you. I mean, you're somebody who cares about them. You're somebody who loves them. One of the only people who actually cares about their well-being, and they'll take it out. They'll get mad at you. They'll actually like fly into a rage at you, like abusing the person who cares about them, and then they'll show love to somebody who encourages them to do the harmful thing. You know, if somebody goes up to them and lies to them and tells them that what they're doing is not going to hurt them and keep doing it, they'll love that person. You know what I'm saying? But they'll hate on the person who loves them. Try this sometime. Try telling somebody the negative effects of weed on the brain. Okay? Try telling them that there are conclusive studies, conclusive scientific evidence that weed impairs cognition and memory over the long term, that it damages your brain. Tell them that there are studies that show that weed smoked as a teenager lowers your IQ up to 8 points, and that you do not recover those points if you quit as an adult. That it actually alters the functioning of your hippocampus, slows your cognition, and reduces the number of neurons in the hippocampus, and decreases your memory over the long term, that it increases the risk of schizophrenia, that it has a number of negative effects, lasting effects on the brain that don't just last while you're high, that it lasts for a lifetime, and that this actually lowers your intelligence over the long term. Try telling them that and watch what they say to you. But weed is a plant. But weed is a medicine. You're a lame. You're a bitch. Leave me alone. You faggot. This is what they'll say to you, okay, when you're trying to actually help them not to damage their brain. But weed doesn't kill you. They'll say anything in the book to make themselves feel better about what they're doing, and you're the one who's making them not feel good about what they're doing, and so they'll fly into a rage at you. Oh, that's the government telling us that. The government just is saying that for the war on drugs. They just don't want it. They just don't want us to feel good. No, guys, it's actually the opposite. A population that's dumb and high all the time is easier to oppress. But people don't peep that. And it's sad, too, because a lot of these teens do these drugs while they're developing. Like weed, if you smoke weed as a teenager, the effects on the brain cognitively are lasting for a lifetime. But these kids are doing this stuff, and they'll get mad at anybody who tells them otherwise. So, you know, it makes a lot of people say, well, screw it. I'm not telling anybody nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to just let people do what they want. And it's sad, but people are out there actually like destroying themselves because people got this emptiness. They got loneliness. They got pain. And the human spirit is cowardly. It doesn't want to face one's problems. It wants to run from problems. You know what I'm saying? Humans are not brave. Humans are cowards. Even people who have a reputation for being hard or being brave, inside they're really scared little boys. They're scared to face themselves. They're scared to face the demons within themselves. Like the Bible says, the way is hard that leads to life. The way is hard that leads to healing. People don't want to take the hard way. People want the easy way. They want to just numb it over. They don't want to solve the problem. They don't want to heal the wound. They just want to anesthetize the wound. So they run to substance abuse, and they end up destroying themselves. And a lot of people around them, too. Because a lot of people who abuse these substances, it changes who they are as a person, and it starts making them even more evil than they would already be to the people around them. And kind of takes away the personality of people who, you know, are loved by others. But, you know, there ain't no way people are going to listen. Read some of the comments and watch my point be proven. Look at the comments under this video and watch what people are going to say about the fact that I even brought up weed or lean. People ain't going to stop the lean. People ain't going to stop the Xans. People ain't going to stop the crack, the meth, the heroin, anything they're doing. I mean, I was making videos about how crack and meth are bad for you, and you should have seen the comments in the comment section. This was way back when I first started my channel. You know what I'm saying? I was making, because after they were passing out that laced dope on the west side, the laced heroin, the laced meth, and all that kind of stuff, I was making videos about how, you know, this stuff, even if it's not laced, it's like, it's still going to kill you. Man, heroin and meth addicts were leaving comments in the comment section about how I'm wrong. You can do this stuff and it's fine. You know, I'm a bitch. I'm a fag. All this kind of stuff in the comment section. Guys, people ain't going to listen, man. People are going to do what they want to do. People like me, they just put the information out there basically for our own consciences. It's not because we think anybody's going to listen, because we know humans. But anyways, man, RIP to Fredo, because Fredo... You guys, I'm going to tell you something, man. Fredo had this image, but, you know, back when I was doing the music thing in Chicago, and I was, you know, working with a lot of rappers, I never interviewed Fredo Santana. He was already on by the time I started doing that blogging stuff, but I interviewed a lot of people who knew him now, and some on camera, some off camera, and what people said about Fredo, like, I asked them, I was like, you know, this image that Fredo has of, like, this, you know, super psychopathic killer, like Freddy Krueger and all this kind of stuff, is this real, or is, like what's going on with this? And they're like, no, man, they're like, the reason why nobody disses him, the real reason why everybody respects him is because he was one of the realest dudes in the hood. He would actually break bread with people, like, even beyond his circle, you know what I'm saying? He would pay, like, people's rent who couldn't pay it. He would buy kids food. He was like one of the realest, most generous dudes over there. You know what I'm saying? Making money in those buildings. He would just focus on his bag. He didn't get involved in the dissing, in the kind of like in the pointless gang stuff that goes on down there. He just focused on his bag, and he actually helped everybody down there eat, and people couldn't help but respect that. And he just gained a lot of respect from everybody around him, and that reputation like went far and wide. I mean, he had a few years on some of these younger guys who were involved in that whole beef between, you know, Front Street and those other guys, but still, he could have gotten involved in all that, and he really didn't. He just focused on money, and people saw him as a real guy for that. So I'm going to say RIP to Fredo Santana, man, and RIP to everybody else who's going to commit slow suicide off these drugs, man. I'm not going to try to convince nobody not to do it because I know they ain't going to stop. Whether it's people slowly damaging their brains on weed or crack or meth or whatever the heck else they do, people are going to do what they do, man. Somebody asked me in the comments on the last video, but I thought you do meth or crack. Like, don't people always say that you do that stuff? Or is that real, or are people just saying that? Guys, people are just talking trash because of my messed up grill, man, and I let them do it because it's funny. The fact is, I do zero drugs. Nothing. The only drugs I've ever done in my life, when I was a senior in high school for about a month, I did Xans because they were prescribed for me by a doctor because he thought I was having panic attacks, and I wasn't. I got off those after a month, and then when I was about 27, tried Valium twice and got off of it. So anyways, that's the only drugs I've ever done in my life. I do nothing because I don't like the idea that something is, changing the way that I think. I just don't like that. That something's making me dumber. Even in the short term, or that something is altering my personality. Plus, just based on my worldview, you guys know Muslims. Muslims ain't supposed to do nothing, okay? And Christians really ain't supposed to do nothing either. Anything that alters the functioning, anything that intoxicates somebody, anything that, immerses somebody in a state of mind that's not, 100% alert like you normally are. Any intoxication is considered sinful in Islam, in Christianity, I think in Judaism too. Here's your boy, Rafael. I'm out of here.